Recorded. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we are broadcasting from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks beautiful Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It is another beautiful day here in the Twin Cities, and I am so grateful to be here with you today, and I hope all of you listening are doing well. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in a few minutes will be Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spiritual, and he will be discussing their telehealth chaplain service to provide spiritual care across the care continuum. Spiritual provides spiritual assessments, spiritual counseling, grief counseling, cultural competence consultation, and advanced care planning support. Spiritual is a virtual spiritual care provider. Their virtual chaplain network augments the chaplain teams of acute care, palliative care, long-term care, hospice, and chronic condition providers, helping them expand access to spiritual care for patients, family members, and healthcare staff. You'll enjoy listening to my conversation today with Andrew Savitz. I want to thank all of you that leave us messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your comments, questions, and topics for future shows. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our radio show, please call or text us at 612-999-3426. You can also contact us on our website at livinghealthyradio.com. There you can find information about upcoming guests as well as listen to our previous shows. We look forward to hearing from you. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our radio shows on the AM 950 radio website, and we can also be found on iTunes, Spotify, and every other podcast service and streaming service out there. You can watch our broadcast live on the radio station's Facebook page at AM 950 Radio. If you have a question for us today, there are two ways to reach us. First, by calling the AM 950 radio station, and our friendly show engineer, Tom, will get your call in the air. Our phone number is 952-946-6205. Once again, 952-946-6205. Or you can simply text us your questions at 612-999-3426. Now, don't worry if you missed our contact numbers. I'll repeat them throughout the show. All right. I am looking forward to welcoming my guest today, Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spiritual. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Good afternoon, Ken. Thanks for having me.
All right. This is great, and I appreciate you taking time out of just a gorgeous Saturday here in Minnesota, and I'm looking forward to talking about Spiritual. I met you at a conference earlier this year, and a great conference. First time we had that conference in like 5 years. Mm-hmm. So that was a very fun experience. And it was great to meet you. And I'm looking forward to getting into our conversation here. But first of all, the audience loves to know a little bit about my guest.
Great.
So if you want to give us a bit about your background, that'd be wonderful.
Sure. How far back should we go?
Well, you're a young guy, so probably right to birth. Where were you born?
Sounds good. I was born in Weston, Florida, where I spent pretty much all of my childhood before moving up to Minnesota to go to the University of Minnesota, and I've been here ever sinty.
Wow, fantastic. So the U brought you up here in a sense.
Yes.
Education.
Yes.
Wow, I went to the U as well twice, and it's a good program. What program did you? What was the educational?
I studied nutrition, so since I was a kid, which I'm sure we'll get into the story a little bit, but originally I wanted to be a doctor, and so when looking for colleges, I was looking for programs and universities with strong health care departments and majors, and along the way really fell in love with nutrition as part of really early on thinking through how not just medicine in the traditional ways of thinking about medicine, but really healthy living, right, contributes to health. So I was drawn to nutrition when I was in high school and carried that through and graduated with a degree in nutrition at the University of Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, they have a great nutrition program.
They do.
It's on the St. Paul side, isn't
it?
Yeah,
yes, which is a beautiful campus.
It's hard to get into that one, I've heard from people, but that's fantastic. But going from Florida to Minnesota, that's quite a shift.
It is.
You are really passionate about your education.
Yeah. Well, I had family living here. At the time, my uncle, who I'm very close with, was living here, and got to know the Twin Cities before really looking at the University of Minnesota. And I was really attracted to the people here. The Minnesota nice really is a real thing. I always noticed the differences when I was in the grocery store when I was in Minnesota compared to in Florida, and that and all the nature that's here. I like to hike and camp and kayak, and you can do some of those things in Florida, but I feel there's a lot more here, and the variety of the seasons attracted me. So that was the hook. And then when I looked at the University of Minnesota, all that it has to offer really sold me.
Yeah, great. Well, you're right. This is kind of a hidden gem here of the 50 states. There's nothing you can't do here.
Mm-hmm.
Year round, there's just so much. Fantastic. So, all right. So then tell us, you got into a career. Tell us about that.
Sure. So, like I mentioned, for most of my life, I was intent on becoming a doctor and pursued that all throughout my university days. I've got a letter that I wrote myself when I was 8 years old that, when I was graduating, I reflected upon. But always throughout my life, in addition to being interested in the sciences and in medicine and pursuing that goal, there was another narrative to my life that sometimes it felt like it was on the back burner, but was always there. When I was a young kid, friends of mine got together and they would create art, and I would help sell it to our parents. And then when I was in high school, I started a montage business and created bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah montages. And then in college, when most of my other pre-med peers were in the lab in their summers, I had weird business related internships, like 1 year working for a family friend entrepreneur who he had an e-commerce cruise ship and shore excursions business that I worked for 2 summers. And so it probably wasn't much of a surprise in hindsight that in my last year of college, when most people, again, who are pre-med are looking to do something more of a clinical nature or a research-based capstone to their degree, I found myself interning for the chief medical officer of the Minnesota Hospital Association. I was attracted to that opportunity because I really wanted to learn more about the system of healthcare and how it's administered. And through that experience and through his mentorship, my eyes were open to shifts towards value-based care and issues related to provider burnout and a lot of kind of the big picture themes that are really driving healthcare delivery today. And so ultimately, after I graduated, decided not to submit my applications and really think through what would be a career where I could pull together my interests in medicine and in healthcare, but also my other interests in business and policy and economics and entrepreneurship, which led me down the path of healthcare consulting in the early days of my career, and now to where I am as the founder of a healthcare startup.
All right. So let's, we only got a couple minutes here. So on the startup here, I want to spend some time talking about that because it really is innovative, but it also is consistent with what's happening across a lot of health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's trying to have distributed or telehealth concepts, and what we're finding is that so many people cannot leave their home.
Mm-hmm.
Either they don't want to, or it's very difficult to leave home to get to a counseling session or a health a medical session or a dental session or anything, all these appointments. And so it's so interesting what you're doing with your company to try to help create access. As I think we think we have all this great access, but if you can't get out of your house, doesn't matter how much access you got to services. That's a huge barrier.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, tell me, I guess, a little bit here. So the company is Spirituell, and so I want to let people know it's spelled Spirituwell. How did you come up with that name?
Sure. Well, I can't take credit for the name, and really the early vision for the company came from my co-founder, who's a rabbi who started his career as a Navy chaplain close to 30 years ago, and was a rabbi here in the Twin Cities at one of our community congregations, in addition to his chaplain work. And so the original name comes from the early days of really developing the vision for Spirituell. And I think the main themes that contributed to the name was that, one, an important domain of health is spiritual health. Spirituality, which we can get to later on, means different things to different people.
It sure does.
But it's an important aspect of everyone's life, and we really wanted that to come through in the name.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for a short break, Andrew. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Andrew Savitz. He is the CEO of Spirituell, and that's a telehealth chaplain service to provide spiritual care across the care continuum. Spirituell provides spiritual assessments, spiritual counseling, grief counseling, cultural competence consultation, and advanced care planning support. If you have a question for Andrew, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schromen Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Buying a big-ticket item like an appliance doesn't have to be stressful. Don't waste time wandering the paint aisles looking for help or arranging your own delivery, installation, and haul away. I'm Angela Warner, and at Warner Stellian, our appliance specialists simplify the process from selection to professional delivery. We'll coordinate everything for you at unbeatable prices. Like right now, you'll get paid to upgrade with our summer bonus sale. Find out more at our 10 Minnesota Warner Stellian stores and at warnerstellian.com.
Is your remote workforce putting your company at risk? Cyber criminals are targeting your employees with COVID-19 inspired emails and attacking businesses like yours. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. Rymark has the tools and expertise to enable your employees to work securely from home. If you need help getting your staff to work remotely and securely, call 651-328-8900 or go to rymarkit.com. That's 651-328-8900 or rymarkit.com.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hey, it's Patrick. This is one of everybody's least favorite things to hear, but we're heading into the home stretch of summer. Back to school is right around the corner. Those final sleepovers are going to be taking place. It's time to call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res for a reset before we head into the fall. If you haven't tried Zero Res or it's been months since your last deep carpet clean, now is the time to call. Right now, you can get your entire home Zero Resified for Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms Zero Resified for just $119. Along with that great deal on carpets, it's also a great time to get the summer crud cleaned out of your air ducts. Zero Res is taking 20% off any air duct cleaning this month. And don't forget about your dryer vents while you're at it. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZERO-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spiritual, a telehealth chaplain service to provide spiritual care across the care continuum. If you have a question for us, please feel free to give us a call, 952-946-6205, or you can directly text us your question at 612-999-3426. So, Andrew, if people have more questions, that people will be texting me after the show, what's the best way for them to learn more about Spiritual?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first, they can go to our website, www.spiritual.health. And if they want to get in touch, info@spiritual.health is the best way to reach us directly. We've also got an interest form on the website that people can submit to learn more.
Okay, yeah, it's a beautiful website, lots of beautiful pictures, beautiful people. That's fantastic. Chaplaincy on demand. That's fantastic. All right, well, great. All right, well, we'll remind you folks how to get to that website again throughout the show. But it is not .com, like most people think, spiritual.health, SPIRITUWELL.health. All right. Let's continue to talk a little bit more about your inspiration, because this is really not a typical business model. Mm-hmm. Although it's taking advantage of the technology we have now, mm-hmm. With doing telehealth and things on demand. But let's talk more about what inspired you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, going back to really the founder of my, or the story of my co-founder, during COVID, he continued in his capacity as a chaplain, serving people in his life and families, and recognized that a couple things related to access gaps, really, to chaplains and to professional spiritual care in general. And some of those access gaps were true then during COVID and remain true today in many communities. Professional spiritual counselors, which are different from community clergy, they're not readily available equally across all places in the healthcare system, mm-hmm. Where they're needed. Many large urban hospitals employ chaplains, but smaller or critical access or rural hospitals often don't have the budget to employ professional chaplains. Yet people who are in a hospital in a rural setting are just as in need and just as deserving of professional spiritual care as those in urban settings. So that's one access gap that he recognized and wanted to solve for, and that was part of my motivation to just solve that basic disparity in terms of access based on location. And then second, given that he is a rabbi, and this really resonated with me personally too, for many people, not for everyone, but for many people, the way that spirituality shapes their understanding of their world and shapes their health is through a religious or a cultural lens or identity. Mm-hmm. Because there are limited chaplains to begin with spread across care settings in general, it's even more true for people who identify with a minority faith or religious or cultural identity. And for patients and families who, for example, want a rabbi or want an imam or want somebody who knows their particular denomination within Christianity, or for somebody who wants more of a truly interfaith mm-hmm. Chaplain who doesn't have a specific religious identity, there's limited access to people in person sometimes. And so in many communities, a telehealth model would be the only way to, on an on-demand basis or by appointment, to connect that patient or family with somebody who really represents their own identity and background and beliefs.
And you're right. Depending upon your location and depending on where you find yourself in life, that may not be readily accessible. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to be able to just, again, connect to somebody. It doesn't matter if it's a mile away or if it's 100 miles or 1,000 miles away. Mm-hmm. But with telehealth, you can connect.
Right.
And it's nice you can find that.
Right. And so what inspired me was initially just solving that initial access gap problem for its own sake, because it's important to do so. But then, taking a step back and tying it to some of the earlier things I had said about the direction I wanted to take my career and really impacting the system of healthcare. I, as part of my own kind of initial discovery process, took a really close look at the published peer-reviewed literature on the impact of spirituality and spiritual health on quality of life, on outcomes, and what I found further really inspired me to focus more and more on this idea and really encouraged me to pursue it, because it is very well documented that spirituality, and we should define that a little bit.
Let's do that next segment here.
Sure.
We have just a minute left here.
But just to say that spirituality, for individuals with a serious illness or with a chronic illness or people experiencing grief or other traumas in their life, it really does have a documented impact positively on their healthcare and their healthcare outcomes. And so I was inspired by that impact, and given again the direction that my career was going and really wanting to impact healthcare at a systems level, it was motivating to me. It is motivating to me today that if we could give people access to this underutilized lever within the healthcare system, that could really make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. As we talked before the show, health is a holistic concept. Mm-hmm. And I think we, as a society, are starting to recognize that more and more, that so many times the body manifests pain because of emotional trauma or spiritual issues, and you can't always solve that with the physical solution. Mm-hmm. And you can't just put an ointment on mm-hmm. and it's going to resolve the trauma, life's traumas, or internal conflicts, or relationship issues. And you say it's I agree. It's being more and more documented that you got to really work on what's in your mind and what's in your heart mm-hmm. to help you resolve physical issues and especially chronic conditions. Mm-hmm. All right, it's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spirituwell, a telehealth chaplain service to provide spiritual care across the care continuum. Their virtual chaplain network augments the chaplain teams of acute care, palliative care, long-term care, hospice, and chronic condition providers, helping them expand access to spiritual care for patients, family members, and healthcare staff. If you have a question for Andrew, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Hi, I'm Mary T., inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T. Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
You can't have too much pride, so don't miss one of the best rural pride events in the country at Fargo-Moorhead Pride, August 8th through the 11th. There are tons of activities, including a dance party, family fun night, a 5K fun run, block party, and a pride parade. In a little more than 3 hours, you can be in Fargo for 4 days of Pride, including Pride in the Park, a trivia and karaoke event, and a Youth Pride all-ages drag show. Folks visit from all over the three-state area and Canada. Visit fmpride.com. Hey there, AM 950 community. Join me, J. Peter Bogosian, every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. for a double dose of queer joy, This Queer Book Saved My Life, and The Gaily Show. These programs are a jubilant celebration of the transformative impact of queer literature and the dynamic spirit of LGBTQ plus culture and entertainment right here in Minnesota. Tune in and be a part of this vibrant community. For all the details, visit thisqueerbook.com and am950radio.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We'll talk about how civics, politics, and law affect you by highlighting a different topic each week. On this week's show, we'll cover why the Democrats run the economy better than the Republicans. We'll cover the Declaration of Independence, and will Tim Walz be nominated for vice president? Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch to discover why government and civics matter. And podcast the show anytime on your favorite app.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Tom Winston. Today, a sunny day, high 89. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, low 67. And for tomorrow, a chance of afternoon showers, high 84. The Great Wall Restaurant specializes in Szechuan and Mandarin cuisine. Try the Peking duck, the beef and broccoli, and the hot and sour soup. See their extensive menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spiritual, a telehealth chaplain service that provides spiritual care across the care continuum. Before we return to our conversation with Andrew, I want to mention this radio show is brought to you in part each week by Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is an independent, locally owned medical practice serving our Twin Cities communities with comprehensive end-of-life health care. The team at Minnesota Hospice provides patients and family members with award-winning end-of-life health care services. You may not be aware that hospice brings compassionate, social, medical, emotional, and spiritual services to your home with typically no cost to you or your family. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you and your loved ones. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the compassionate team of experts at Minnesota Hospice. They are available to answer your questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A registered nurse who is trained in hospice and end-of-life care will answer the phone regardless of the time of day you call. Their phone number is 952-898-1022. Once again, 952-898-1022. Or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. Okay, let's return to our conversation with Andrew Savitz. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Andrew, how can our listeners contact you if they have questions or want more information about your services?
Two main ways. One would be our website, www.spirituel.health, or you can email us, info@spirituel.health.
All right, and that's spelled SPIRITUWELL.health. All right, fantastic. All right, we talked about the word spirituality throughout the show so far, and you and I talked on break. We really should try and define what that is, because I think if you ask people on the street, they would give us all different kind of answers what spirituality is.
So the way we define it is it's the part of being human related to seeking meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater than ourselves. For each person, that means something different. It could be how they relate to their family or friends, how they relate to society or community, or specific different communities within their life. For some people, it's how they connect to nature or derive purpose through their work or vocation or volunteering. It's something that is sacred in their life. For many people, it is related to religion for a variety of reasons. And for others, it doesn't relate to religion specifically. And for most people, spirituality isn't one thing, right? It's that constellation of all of the different aspects of their life that help give them meaning and purpose, and really help direct what they prioritize in their life and how they feel about other things in their life.
Does the afterlife play a part in various people's perception or thought process of spirituality?
It certainly does for many people. Part of how somebody identifies with their spirituality or their religiosity shapes their values, which pertain both to their current life and how they go about living. It also relates to many of their beliefs about how what they do today impacts tomorrow. Tomorrow could be something in their immediate future, but it also could, for some people, relate to how they think about the afterlife.
Yeah, we see that in our practice. Certain people think that if the more suffering they have before they die, the better the reward will be in the afterlife. And it's you have to really step back when you're dealing with people's belief systems, and whether it's cultural or religious, and say, I don't want to impart mine on you. What do you want? What is it that you are prioritizing at this point in your life? And it's fascinating how people perceive those. So again, it's nice to be able to have somebody help guide you or bounce ideas off of that. A lot of times they don't have access to that, because what happens at the end of life a lot of times is they're isolated and they're lonely, and they can't get to their faith community. They can't get that, and the faith community can't get out to them either.
Right.
So again, that's why I'm so fascinated by your model here about being able to have access to spiritual support no matter where you're at. All right, let's talk about, as I'm sure people are trying to figure out, spiritual, and I've given some things on the intros here, but what are the services that your organization provides to people?
Yeah, I'd love to address that, as well as who's providing the service. I think that's an important distinction to provide.
Yep.
So what do we mean by spiritual care? There are a variety of different interventions depending on what the person needs at the point where we're in front of them. Emotional and spiritual support sometimes can just be somebody, a professional who's there to listen, right? So many folks, because they're isolated or because they're wrestling with things that they've never confronted before, just need someone to listen to them empathetically and help them sort through the emotional or spiritual distress that they are facing. For some people, another intervention does relate to religious or ritual support, which for some people could be prayer. For others, it isn't. Grief and bereavement counseling is another formal intervention that our spiritual counselors are well trained and equipped to provide. For some people, advanced care planning is an intervention, because so much of thinking about the way that one might choose to receive care is wrapped up in their personal beliefs, in their values, which are often shaped by their culture, by their spirituality, by their religious identity. And then lastly, I think it's important to say that a well-trained spiritual counselor, what they can do is triage when maybe what somebody needs is another care team member. Maybe somebody needs a referral to a licensed mental health counselor for more acute experiences of depression and anxiety or other related symptoms that a spiritual counselor or a chaplain would not be the best person to address. And so those are just some of the interventions that we're able to provide.
That's an interesting point. Spiritual counseling is different than spiritual advice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how unfortunately some damage can be done if you have untrained people.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that as I learn more about your business is you really focus a lot on trained people.
Yes.
I mean, people may not realize how significant it is to be, like you just said, to listen empathetically
mm-hmm.
and to provide feedback, because unfortunately that can be done really poorly
mm-hmm.
and really not. I mean, just like in health, in medicine, first do no harm.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes in the psychosocial world with untrained people, again, well-intended.
Mm-hmm.
This is just not about doing something wrong intentionally, but unintentionally, there can be a lot of problems that can be created.
Exactly. And because of that, our chaplain network truly is made up of professional healthcare chaplains. Some of them maybe had an early career in community as community clergy. We don't really look to that experience when we're considering the qualifications. What we're looking for are professional chaplains who have worked in hospitals, who have worked in hospice, mm-hmm. who have worked as part of interdisciplinary care teams in other healthcare settings where they have the formal training and skills to do assessments, to walk into any room or situation with a patient or a family caregiver in an interfaith way,
right.
and to let that person lead them towards a discussion or a ritual that maybe relates to a particular religious group or practice. But I think it's an important distinction to make that community clergy, people who are affiliated with institutional religion, they have an important role to play in shaping somebody's life experience and giving them a sense of community. But that is not the same as really helping somebody overcome existential distress when they are in hospice or, even before end of life when somebody
right.
has a chronic condition that is changing their ability to live the lives that they thought that they would have, mm-hmm. because maybe they're now physically unable to do so. Maybe their ability to work has changed, their ability to interact with their social groups and friendships. Those are the things that really can contribute to existential distress. Loss and grief is another big category that impacts people of all ages, but particularly older adults. And unfortunately, nearly 1 in 4 older adult grievers experience prolonged grief disorder. And so, that's another situation where what you really want, if spirituality is something that will help get you through that grief or wrestle with that grief, you really want someone who's trained professionally in grief counseling to help you understand and move through that experience.
Yeah. Some of the chaplains I've worked with over the years, it's interesting how there's a certain, for the well-trained ones, the mindset is they offer questions,
mm-hmm.
not answers.
Exactly.
And I think it's so easy for the layperson
mm-hmm.
to want to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I have the answer. And again, the damage that can be done inadvertently,
mm-hmm.
Unintentionally, can be profound. And so it's just interesting how, as you talk to me and I learn more about your business, how it lines up so closely with the things that I've done
mm-hmm.
in our practice with supporting end-of-life patients. I was going to say, just you touched on this here about the grief side. when people lose somebody, especially if they lose somebody suddenly, there's not a chance to have any anticipatory grief processing going on. If you know somebody is on their last few months or weeks or even days, at least you get a chance, if you have access to somebody who is trained, to help start to prepare yourself for that loss, because it is a loss that you're anticipating going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, the music is cueing us out, Andrew. We'll be back for our fourth segment. It's time for a short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spirituwell, a telehealth chaplain service in providing spiritual care across several care continuums. It's really important, folks, that you understand that spiritual care, or Spirituwell, provides these wonderful spiritual assessments, spiritual counseling, grief counseling, cultural competence counseling, and advanced care planning support. Spirituwell is a virtual spiritual care provider. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
At Better Futures Minnesota, we support Minnesota's environment by working towards zero waste and the transformation of the lives of men in our workforce development model. Better Futures Minnesota engages men with histories of incarceration and homelessness. Our approach reaffirms each man's dignity, instilling self-discipline and behaviors that empower them to achieve self-sufficiency and a better future. We set hard-to-employ men on a pathway to independence through employment in our reuse retail warehouse and work crews specializing in building deconstruction, property maintenance, appliance recycling, and janitorial services. We strive to create a sustainable future where social equity, economic opportunity, and environmental justice intersect. By addressing these interconnected challenges, Better Futures Minnesota works towards building resilient, healthy communities for all Minnesotans. We believe that true sustainability can only be achieved when all members of our community can thrive. Join us in making a difference. Visit us at betterfuturesminnesota.com and donate today.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire is a community that provides memory care to its residents, and we have a location in Bloomington and also another one that we just opened in Medina, Minnesota. But the big question is that why do people come to Welshire? Many of the people coming to Welshire are coming from other memory care communities where they maybe haven't received bathing. They've had problems taking medication or inconsistency with staffing. Welshire has never used a temporary staff. We always have our own people, and it's those people that make the difference. We have always felt it so important to have 24-hour nursing in the building. The other thing is you have to have an amazing activity team. Nobody employs more activity people than Welshire. Our activities begin in the morning, go all the way through the evening, 7 days a week. So if you have a loved one that needs memory care, come visit WelshireMN.com and book a tour today.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromenlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
All right, welcome back, folks. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spirituwell. That's spelled Spirituwell, Spirituwell. And his company is a telehealth chaplain service to provide spiritual care across the care continuum. If you have a question for us, please feel free to give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Andrew, how can our listeners contact you if they have questions or want more information?
There are two ways. One is our website, www.spirituwell.health, or via email, info@spirituwell.health.
All right. So some of the questions coming in via text are saying, is this only for the Twin Cities? Is this for Minnesota? Just want to make sure there's some confusion there a little bit.
Great question.
On how they can access this.
Yeah. Well, because we are a virtual care model, we have spiritual counselors across the country, and we're looking to provide our services and are equipped to provide services to people nationally.
Okay, but that's the beauty of it. Again, it's online, on demand, online, so that's fantastic. Okay, great. So who are your customers? And if we could just take a couple of minutes here and just kind of help people understand the focus for your organization.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have chosen to start with providing our services in partnership with healthcare provider organizations. So some of our early adopters include a faith-based health system that delivers acute care in hospitals, ambulatory care in the community, long-term care such as in independent living or assisted living. And they're in over 20 states. We're not quite there with providing our services in all of their 20 states, but it's something that hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do as their need continues to be identified. Another is a faith-based regional health system in the Midwest, not here in Minnesota, but elsewhere in the Midwest, that has care in over 15 hospitals and over 200 ambulatory sites. We've got another organization that we're going to be working with soon that provides hemodialysis and other end-stage renal disease and chronic kidney disease management related services. So there's quite a spectrum of organizations that are providing services in inpatient settings, in outpatient settings, in community settings. And we've chosen to start there because we really want spirituality and spiritual care to be recognized as part of a holistic approach to care, that it's not out on an island or out on the side and separate from the other aspects of people's health care. And eventually we also intend to provide our services to individuals in the community so that they have access to something without having to be in the hospital, for example, or without having to wait till they're at the point of their life where they're ready for hospice, right? We really want to be a resource available to people throughout their lives as the need is confronting them.
Well, the more prepared people are, both spiritually and emotionally, for end of life, even before they are at end of life, I think it's best for them and their families. So that's a great service. We only got a couple minutes left here. Where do you see your organization in the next 5 years?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think it relates to what we were just touching on with in terms of who's accessing us, how are they accessing our services, and really I see Spirituwell delivering our services nationally and across the care continuum, providing spiritual care services to millions of people, whether they be patients in a hospital or residents in a long-term care or a senior care facility, family caregivers, right, who may be young and earlier in their life or in their adulthood, but are also wrestling with challenges related to a caregiver burden, for example, or other forms of wrestling with the purpose and meaning in their life. And I believe that where we'll be in 5 years is that spiritual health and both delivered by Spirituwell and others will be recognized as a value aspect of people's health, just like mental health care services, just like physical health care services. And it won't be, secondary or considered again, on the side of what most people think of when they think of healthcare, that it'll be just another tool in the toolbox alongside other important tools that impact people's health, well-being, and quality of life.
Yeah, that is so true. You look at the rise of mental health online. You see commercials for that now all the time. To call up and talk to a counselor, and which is great. Again, having this ability to do it like on demand is wonderful. But I think you're right. There's another dimension. There's another side to that is really focused on the spiritual side. And you brought up a good point here earlier, is that caregiver burden. The state of Minnesota, we have over 600,000 unpaid caregivers taking care of disabled or elderly loved ones.
Yeah.
And to tell you,
40 million nationally.
Right. And they're all unpaid. This is
Yeah.
not professional care. This is loving care. This is as young as 8 years old is what the State Department, the state demographics office said. So anyway, I got to have you back. There's so much more to talk about. This is a burgeoning area, huge need, huge gap. And this is great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Ken.
All right. I want to thank Andrew Savitz, CEO of Spiritual, for discussing their telehealth chaplain service providing spiritual care across the care continuum. Andrew, how can our listeners contact you if they have questions or want more information?
www.spiritual.health, or you can email us at info@spiritual.health.
All right, fantastic. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us with any questions or comments you have regarding today's conversation. You can reach us anytime by voice or text at 612-999-3426. Join us again next Saturday at noon for another broadcast. And thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, choose to live well.
Singing Italian songs.